to think about what your big vision is. What is the thing that you really want to do? What is it that you really want to step into? And ask yourself, is your path right now, your track, your career, your education, is it leading you towards that?
Everyone, welcome back to the Ideas to Impact Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Lauren Black, creative strategist and owner of Bosscation, and I am so excited to bring you our guest today, Amber Lilyestrom. So Amber, hi.
Hello, Lauren. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. So Amber is a transformational branding strategist and business coach, writer, speaker, and podcast host of the Amber Lilyestrom Show. And she helps entrepreneurs take their brands from nothing to turning them into some heart-centered, taking their passions and turning them into heart-centered brands and just thriving businesses. So I am really excited to talk to Amber today about how to be who you really are in life and business. So Amber, I'd love to hear a little bit about why you think this is important.
Yeah. So, I mean, we all just want to have fun, right? We all just want to live our lives. We want to show up authentically. We want to feel free. We want to have fun living the life that we were born to live. And I think that, we get into this track of most of us, right? Traditional school, then we go and get a degree, and then that degree dictates where we're going to go or where we're not going to go. And then we get that job, and then we're kind of like always looking to someone else to reflect back to us what we're worthy of and what we're ready for, instead of kind of doing it the other way around and making decisions around what really makes me feel alive, what really makes me feel great. And so for myself on my journey, I worked in collegiate athletics marketing. I was a Division I associate athletic director, and I was running marketing for 7 ticketed sports at the Division I level. It was an awesome career. It was very entrepreneurial in nature. I got to teach. I got to just really spread my wings and do lots of really fun things and learn about fan behavior, consumer preferences, how to take care of an audience, how to engage an audience at large events and all that. It was an awesome career. But there came a point where my life started to shift, and I got pregnant with our first child, and I was just, everything shifted, everything changed. My perspective started to shift. And then when my daughter was born, it was very clear to me that I did not want to spend my entire life dropping her off at daycare, running to work, sprinting back to get her, having just a few hours together, and then having to do the whole thing over again. And so that was just a huge awakening for me and an invitation for me to decide how I was going to integrate my life and my career in a way that just felt more authentic and more heart-centered, and also in a way that was just going to help me just design the life I really wanted to live, not just the career.
Yeah, definitely. I actually am pregnant now with my first son, first child. And that it has been a wake up moment for me to say, oh, wow, in like 6 months, I'm going to have a little one here that it's going to change everything. And I actually, a few years ago, when I left my day job, part of the reason was because I wanted to start building this business that would allow me the freedom once I did have kids.
Yes, 100%. And so I didn't have necessarily that vision. I knew I wanted to be a mom. I always knew that I wanted to be a mom. But I'm just so grateful. My daughter was a huge part of just my own personal awakening. And she's just an amazing invitation for me to make these shifts. And ultimately I had a big vision. So I want to just invite anyone who's listening to this to think about, what is your big vision for your life? What is that thing that lives inside of you? I call it with my clients, like, what's the Beyonce big vision? What's the thing that you're a little bit embarrassed to say that you want to, like, the people you love, because they're the ones usually that judge you the most, that are like, why do you want to do that? Stay in your job. You have a paycheck. You've got health insurance, right? Like, why would you want to rock the boat? And this is usually our older generations, our beloved, elders who want stability for us and ultimately valued stability, because in their generation, that was the thing that they really needed. That's what they learned from their parents, right? So our grandparents lived through the Great Depression, and it's just a totally different socioeconomic time. And then our parents, were the product of those parents. And so they were still kind of carrying some of that with them, that fear, saw their own, things in the economy, like dips and highs and lows and all these things. And we were just born into, I was born in 1981. So the 80s and the 90s, a lot of us that are interviewing, right? And so it's just a very different time, in that we weren't born in a time where there was the Great Depression. We didn't have to worry as much about there being food on the table or the access to education. And even as girls, we didn't have as many opportunities at a younger age, maybe as girls that are born now, but we didn't have what our parents dealt with, right? So it's just like a really different framework and way of looking at life. And the internet didn't even exist when I was born, right? And it didn't even exist until I was in high school, ultimately, right? Where I was like actively using, I remember AOL Instant Messenger was like the jam. And now we're living in this time where we can have a conversation over a computer from New Hampshire to Florida while my family comes in the door, as you guys can see, and you're at home, and it's like, it's just a completely different world with different access. So I invite people who are watching this to think about what your big vision is. What is the thing that you really want to do? What is it that you really want to step into? And ask yourself, is your path right now, your track, your career, your education, is it leading you towards that? And if it's not, well, what do you want to do about it? You know, what would be a way for you to start testing the waters a little bit and doing more of what it is you really love?
That is so good. I love how you positioned that you need to be looking at your big vision and making sure you are taking steps towards that. Because sometimes if we don't focus on the end goal, and maybe we don't even know what our end goal is because we've never really sat down and we're just going in kind of autopilot.
Yeah.
And one day you wake up and realize this isn't the life that I really want to be living.
Right.
And so if you're not intentional with taking those steps, you'll never get to that point.
Yeah. And I think what happens, Lauren, is that it then sometimes leads people to kind of like go on this sort of rebel streak where they're like, I'm going to just do whatever I want and I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And I'm just going to, and it's like, whoa, slow down a minute, right? It's okay to have an awakening and to realize that you want something different. Like that's okay. It may not be okay for your parents or for your parents' parents or for maybe your spouses or your boyfriend or girlfriend's parents, but that's their journey. This is yours. You get to choose. And I believe that when we have more people in this world on their path, right, living each day, feeling aligned with what they're doing, feeling more joyful, feeling more gratitude and appreciation, feeling just more present with themselves, it changes the landscape of this life that we're living collectively. People are more consciously connected. People are making better choices about just how to behave, right, with one another and how to be more courteous and considerate as from a humanity perspective, right? We start to help each other more. And so this really is like a life or death thing, right? Having people make a choice to be, like when you think about addiction, you think about choices that people make in their life to numb themselves away from their pain or to numb themselves away from the fact that they don't feel like they're actually living the life they want to live. It's a very different world that we're living in, right? If we could eliminate that, if we could start helping our children at a young age, honor them for being who they are as individuals and helping them get on a path to do something that feels fulfilling to them rather than something that we want for them to do because we feel like it'll be significant that they will be receiving accolades or they'll receive publicity or whatever, right? For doing this thing, it'll make us feel better. Again, that's just more numbing, right? If my child is successful, then that means that I'm good.
Right.
It's just, we've got this kind of backwards. And so I want this to be a little bit of an invitation for a wake-up call to anybody who's watching this that doesn't feel like they're on their path to say, what's it going to take to get on the path? What's it going to take to create something that's going to feel more in alignment? And for those of you that feel like you are on the path, how could you do it even more? How could you go even bigger? How could you help someone else who is maybe a former version of you who's struggling and lost and stuck and help them figure out how to find their path?
Right. Yeah. Pass it forward
to
other people. Now, what would you say for people who maybe they have too many ideas and it's hard for them to choose which path to take?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. I think the way that you can't go wrong in just trying things out. And so you don't have to quit your day job. You can just test things out. Maybe start a YouTube show, right? Maybe you start a blog. Maybe you just offer some free services to a friend just to see if it helps them, right? Just kind of dabble, try it, give it, like put on the training wheels, get out there and give it a spin, see how it goes. And you'll figure it out, by really just learning how to pay attention to what's happening in your gut and into your intuition. Do you look forward to it? Are you excited about it? Or do you feel like a little resentful? Do you feel like, I don't really want to go do that? I remember for me, I had a photography business for a short period of time. I launched this business. I was doing like babies and couples and different things. I have an eye of a skill with photography. And there came a point where, and I mean, I was booking wedding. I was like I started to do well. And then I started to realize that when it was an upcoming weekend to go do a wedding, my gut was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. And so that I pulled the ripcord real quick on that, because first of all, it's somebody's like most special day. And I don't want to be contracted to shoot someone's special day if I don't feel like 100% excited to do it. And that was a theme that was starting to come up for me. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to back away from that. I'm going to shift gears. And it wasn't my whole like livelihood. I was kind of doing it just on the side. And so it wasn't like it was a loss to step away from it. And then I shifted gears into other things, and I still shoot photography, but I do it for the joy of it, not for the income.
Yeah, I think it's important to be able to determine how we like doing things, as well as the thing that we like doing. Because my background is in graphic design, and I realized that I was burning myself out because I hated handling custom invoices and quotes and trying to estimate how long a project would take, and then changing things when they're like, well, how about with a website? No, without a website. How about this type of website? And, it was just draining me to have to put together these custom quotes. I'm like, I just want to be designing. Right. And so sometimes you have to figure out, okay, maybe I need to change the type of design I offer, the type of photography I offer, or do it as a hobby. So now my graphic design business is just people who come to me, and I don't have to worry about marketing myself, or I have retainer clients I've been working with for years that I just get to do the work, and I don't have to worry about any of those logistics and the things that, were driving me nuts.
Right. So good. So just figure out how you can kind of pivot a little bit around it. Don't quit your day, throw out the kitchen sink, right? Just kind of figure out what is going to lead you and light you up, and learning how to pay attention to what it feels like in your body when you're in your joy, when you're doing something that's really fulfilling to you, is also an incredible skill, just to kind of tap into that feeling. And we all know what that feels like, and on the different degrees. Like, I definitely don't feel the same excitement in my core when I'm going to the dentist as I do when I'm going to a live event or doing something fun with my family, right? Or getting to hang out or talk to girlfriends or do an interview or something. It's a little bit of a different feeling. So I tune into what are the ones that are the signs of, yes, this is a yes, and the things that are more of like maybe not. Maybe this isn't quite the thing where I want to put all the energy and focus and attention into.
Yeah, that's good. And I think when you are living out of your strengths and your passions, you'll be producing your best work, and people will take note of that, and it'll just kind of snowball into even better work for you, and, make things easier. It'll open doors and carve out paths that you should be going on. And it just makes sense. It all works together for you, instead of there being tension and kind of fighting with yourself over these little things that you're not as good at or you don't enjoy doing as well.
Right. 100%. Love the way you frame that.
Thank you. So has there ever been a time in your life that you felt you weren't aligned with kind of your vision, or you didn't have a long-term vision? And, how did you kind of overcome that?
I don't think that there's ever been a time that I didn't have a big vision. I do think that there were times when I felt like I had no idea how it was going to happen. And so that kind of felt like, well, what's the point? What's the point of this big vision when I'm just sitting over here behind this desk, having to work 50 hours a week at this job that is so far away from what it is I really want to do. And so I think that is that same kind of feeling of just being like, there's a vision, but is it just magical thinking? Am I just being silly with this? And so I think, the way that I kind of moved through that was just through really immersing myself in books written by people who were doing what I wanted to do, and surrounding myself with a positive community. Right. So there was a period of time where I was doing competitive fitness, and I was just with like this group of women who were just like really working hard, and just like they were positive, and they held themselves accountable. And it was just a great community to just spend my time with. And they were always talking about personal development and growth all the time. So it just exposed me to this whole new world of people that were very separate and different from the world that I had been spending most of my time around. And then, just digging into books. I remember specifically when I was sort of like in that space and knowing that things really needed to change, because our little one was like, 5 months old, 4 months old, and I'd gone back to work, and I was just feeling like really low because I knew I needed to do something differently. It was so clear to me but I literally had no roadmap. And I listened to Danielle Laporte's The Desire Map, and I started reading the book too. So I was like, totally just like ODing on the desire map. I'd read it when I was at home, after I put my daughter to bed, I would read, I'd write all over the book. And then I would like listen to her audiobook when I was driving to work. And I would stay in the car until like the last second for when I had to get out and go into the tunnel to walk across the street to go to my office. And I just decided to just infuse all of my moments of free time with just positive thinking, and with examples of people who were doing it. And I realized that, if they could do it, then maybe I can too. Maybe I can find the way too. And it doesn't just, you don't just, learn how to walk in one day. You got to crawl, and you have to learn how to take those first steps, and you're going to fall down a lot. And so I just really leaned on those analogies and stayed connected to why I really wanted to do what it was I wanted to do.
Yeah. And I think you pointed out relationships and finding those people that can really support your dreams. And that is so important, because it is a battle sometimes with people around you that don't understand your vision, or your parents who are just wanting you to, as you said, be successful and, have that stable income. I remember my best friend's mom, who's kind of a second mom to me, when I posted that I was leaving my day job a couple of years ago, she was literally said, "I am worried for you. This is really scary. What are you doing?" Basically.
Yeah.
And, they're questioning your actions, and, you feel like you have to prove them right or prove them wrong, and, go out there. But it needs to be all about what you really want, not worrying about what the other people around you are thinking and saying about your choices. And, then ultimately filling your life with people, maybe a mastermind group, or going to conferences with other like-minded, entrepreneurs or individuals that can support your dreams and visions.
110%. I can remember my mom saying, at first, and just, and this is like the ultimate of just, she loves and supported me so much, and she was like, "Amber, why would you walk away from your benefits and your 401k and your salary? You've been there for 10 years. It's like, you built this career, you have this, you've done so much work. Why would you walk away from that?" And then just literally within just maybe a month or two after I left and had my business and was working from home, she said, "You leaving your job was the best thing you've ever done." I was like, "You're right, Mom. You're so right." And it's okay. And I think that's the thing. It's like, we have to find the courage and the resolve to take those leaps, and to lean on the people that we know who are our dreams going to be safe with. And also, I think, really acknowledge and receive the love that people like my mom and your best friend's mom were trying to give to us in the way of wanting to protect us, and acknowledge it, not misinterpret it as they don't think I can do it. That's usually us thinking that. And then we're like perceiving and projecting other people's things and saying, "Well, my mom doesn't think I can do it." It was never that my mom didn't think I could do it. She just wanted me to be safe. And so I had to really take ownership for my own fear about whether or not I could do it, and then have the courage to push past that fear to go out and create it.
Definitely. So I know we need to wrap up here, but if you could end on, what are some action steps people could take to step into their path and their vision?
Yeah. So one is just get really clear on it. Just sit down and write it out. Don't be embarrassed. I think that's just so important to say. It's like, it should feel a little weird to write down, I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. I want to quit my job and go live on an island. I want to, I don't know, whatever kind of crazy things that we think up, right?
I want to be on Shark Tank someday.
You want to be on Shark Tank, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to be a pop singer, when I was growing up. That was my thing. So I'm like finding my own ways to do that, right? And so what is the big embarrassing vision? Put it on the page, look at it, share it with your best friend, invite a friend to do it with you. And then you guys can share it, and you can kind of cheer each other on, hold each other accountable to it. So first is just get it there. The second is ask yourself, how could you do some version of this like now? How could you prepare for this in some way, shape, or form? Could you take voice lessons, right? Could you practice your Shark Tank pitch? Could you apply to be on the show, right? What is it? What is the thing that you could do that helps you sort of just like step into the kiddie pool with it, get into ankle deep water with it? You have to dive all the way in, but just test out the waters a little bit, and then watch what happens next. The other thing is to allow yourself with people who are doing what is new. So I wrote a message on LinkedIn to Mel Robbins, and I said, "I want to do what you do when I grow up." And mind you, back then Mel was a radio host. She did have a published book. She was on I don't know if she was on her CNN show yet, as a featured person. I think she was. And she wrote me back. And
Wow.
we ended up connecting, and now we've become friends. And so we like went to her house, and we like taped a pilot for a reality TV show, and now we're friends, right? And she's a friend and a mentor to me, and someone that I reach out to when I have questions and things. And you know, you just never know. You just never know who wants to help you or who is in a position to be ready to help you. So reach out, you know, and you might not get an answer. That's okay, but at least you tried. So
Yeah.
it's just be really brave in the pursuit of moving towards what it is you want, and know that you're never going to get a written invitation. And no one's going to come with a permission slip saying, Lauren, okay, here you go. Would you like to be on Shark Tank? Like, it's just not going to happen. You have to hit the pavement, and you have to move towards it and signal to the universe that this is something that you want. So yeah, so I think that's a good starter point. And I would love for people to comment below on what they're going to do, you know, like shout it out, write it down below for us so we can cheer you on and say, you know, high five you in the pursuit of what it is you're ready to welcome in your life.
Yeah, definitely. And when you put it out there to the world, then people can help keep you accountable to actually take those steps.
That's right. That's right. Awesome.
All right. Well, Amber, this has been so good. Thank you so much for these great kind of the encouragement and just the steps we can take and, you know, all of your wisdom here. So where can people connect with you and find you online?
Yeah, you guys can come on over to amberlilyestrom.com. I have a YouTube channel too. And I also love Instagram. So I'm at Amber Lilyestrom.
And we'll make sure to link all of those in the show notes below.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.